nationally, and so then it was a question of, okay, who's going to room with the fag? But looking back on it, and also meeting up with a lot of those athletes now, I think it was more jealousy because I was winning at the time than it was truly true homophobia.
Councilman O'Farrell's office organized the exhibit to observe LGBT Heritage Month as LA awaits the 2028 Olympics.
There is no better way to do that, I think, than to celebrate being out, being proud of who we are, and being our authentic selves.
We're seeing a shift from hostility to tolerance, from tolerance to acceptance, from acceptance to celebration like the one that we have here.
Now, these vivid images are on display at City Hall's Bridge Gallery that's on the 3rd floor of City Hall. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The LA City Library supplied the photographs. The exhibit will be up till the end of the month. Law enforcement officers lace up their running shoes to raise money for Special Olympics. Gil Reyes picks up the pace from a section of the California Torch Run on Ventura Boulevard.
2 miles, 3 miles. This is the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics. It's our 32nd year running the torch throughout Southern California. 900 miles between San Diego and San Luis Obispo. Our goal is twofold. One, to raise money for Special Olympics, and two, raise awareness for individuals with intellectual disabilities.
In Southern California alone, more than 3,000 peace officers from various agencies are taking part. Pounding the pavement for this leg in Studio City are members of the Los Angeles School Police. They're running for the sake of 1,100 Special Olympians competing at the Southern California Games at Long Beach State University.
Costs about $500 a year to outfit an athlete with uniforms, coaching, venues, transportation, and they do not pay a penny. Everything is supplied to them by Special Olympics.
And you guys.
And us.
And as you can see, the runners are almost here at the finish line. The finish line being Sportsman's Lodge here in Studio City. But this relay will continue all the way to Long Beach for the Special Olympics. How was the run for you?
It was good. It was good. A little bit warm, but not too bad. It was good 4 miles. Working for the Los Angeles Unified School District, we have so many special needs students, so many students that are Olympians, and this is just one of the many ways that we support them.
Guys, let's go!
The torch, known as the Flame of Hope, is then passed to LAPD's Van Nuys division. Their team, made up mostly of young cadets and members of the Jeopardy program for at-risk youth.
This is an opportunity for us to reach out in a very positive way, to see the human side of law enforcement.
Along Ventura Boulevard, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Each leg was about 4 miles. The Southern California Torch Run raises $1.4 million every year and is the largest grassroots fundraiser for Special Olympics. Underprivileged youth in LA are getting a leg up in the business world through the Hire LA's Youth program. Each year it continues to grow as it puts thousands of young people to work. Anna Marcos joins us from one job fair at LA City College with more. Anna.
Yana, events like this Hire LA's Youth Job Fair are about more than just giving these young people jobs. They are actually changing lives. Stephen Mason has a very busy day as the Hire LA's Youth Job Fair kicks off at LA City College. He gets to meet and check in all the hundreds of young people hoping for a job. They wait in a line that at one point stretches across campus. As a graduate of the Hire LA's Youth program, Mason is one of their success stories.
I come from the life of crime in the streets, the robbery, the burglary, the petty theft, everything.
You sold drugs?
I have, yes.
It was a Hire LA's Youth job that turned Mason's life around. The program holds job fairs like this and works with youth source centers, corporations, and businesses throughout LA to hire young people in underprivileged areas for 6 weeks. The young people get training in financial literacy, money management, and how to interview for a job. Often, the short-term jobs and internships turn into long-term and even permanent jobs.
It's important because a lot of the kids that we pull into the program are young people who are either out of school or are at risk of coming out of school, And so it gives them something to ground themselves, to stabilize, to help their families out, to earn an income, and to understand the meaning and the power of work.
Mason now works for LA's Economic and Workforce Development Department, which runs Hire LA's Youth.
It can change lives. It can inspire change. It can inspire a work ethic in you. It can get you that first honest paycheck. That's all it was for me.
Mason is not the only one succeeding. Erin Hillard now works as a youth employment specialist for the city, and this will be her third summer interning for the TV show American Horror Story.
I was able to work on set. I was able to work in production, post-production, costume, design, work with audio engineers, just basically get the whole spiel. American Horror Story is one of my favorite shows, so basically just be a part of how my favorite show is made. It was an awesome experience.
Today, there are 700 more Hire LA's Youth job hopefuls. Most of those who follow through have a good chance of getting the job.
Yeah, this is my first job, so this will help me because I'll have some experience working with others, and I'll have some experience like getting my money together.
I want to become a singer-songwriter, and I also want to make film for something that can inspire minorities.
Some have dreams for the future, some have dreams that are already coming true. Mason's big goal is now to turn his part-time job with the city into a full-time city staff position. He says he's almost there, and it all started with that first job. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Hire LA's Youth hired 17,000 young people last year. If you're a youth looking for a job or a business owner who wants to hire someone, visit HireLAYouth.com. A popular strip in San Pedro is realigned to make way for San Pedro's newest attraction. This schnazzy shopping plaza is still a few years away, but its entryway is already here, and as Gil Reyes reports, with safety in mind.
From this vantage point, you can see the future taking shape at the LA waterfront, and the future looks bright. Just completed is the all-new Harbor Boulevard. It now leads directly to the soon-to-be-built San Pedro Marketplace. Here's how the marketplace looks now. Not much to look at, but wait 3 years from now.
The realignment of Harbor Boulevard is not only the new gateway into the new San Pedro Public Market, but it opens up the aperture on the transformation we are making in San Pedro.
A catalyst that will turn downtown San Pedro into something very similar to the Gaslamp District in San Diego.
The port's councilman, Joe Buscaino, and other officials also praised the new outdoor lighting and marked crosswalks for added safety along Harbor Boulevard. What's next? A new town square and promenade for the area. Construction is expected to begin next spring. Construction of the San Pedro Public Market is expected to begin next summer. There will be restaurants and shops when completed in 2021.
And on top of all this, literally high above Harbor Boulevard, is the brand new Park Plaza here in San Pedro. I'm standing in it right now with drought-tolerant landscaping, trees, plenty of shading, and of course a breathtaking view of the LA waterfront.
We are building LA's newest destination, one that will improve property values, grow current businesses, create lots of opportunities for new businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, the debate is over. We are moving forward.
Big changes coming soon. Along the LA waterfront, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The Harbor Boulevard improvements alone cost just over $15.5 million. It's an annual award ceremony that celebrates students and their parents in the LA Unified School District. Rasha Goel has more on the ceremony that was held in downtown LA and the inspiration behind it.
Students like Atel Melgoza are a beautiful hope for the future. As a student who has attended elementary, middle, and high school in the LA Unified School District, the Adelante Award that she recently received is very valuable to her. She's going away for college, but she says she plans to return to LA.
Knowing that my community has given so much to me and made sure that I'm getting an education that will prepare me for college has inspired me to eventually return back to LA because I am going to school in New York. So I do want to come and give back to my community.
Attell was among the students being recognized from 63 schools in Council District 14. The annual Adelante Awards recognize students from elementary, middle, and high schools for academic excellence. The awards have been put on by Councilmember Jose Huizar for 15 years.
The impetus for this was, I recall that when I was a young kid and I would get these recognitions from school, my parents were so proud. They would hang the recognition or the medal on the living room wall, or they would put the trophy in the living room, and it gave me a lot of pride to show my parents that I was doing well. And we want these same kids to take that pride, show their parents are doing well, and encourage them to continue with their education.
Adelante is a Spanish word that means onward, and the award is to encourage these young students to strive forward in their lives.
By bettering my life, be able to help better my family in the process, and help serve as a good example to my 4 siblings as they come down the pipeline and pursue higher education.
Seems like many of these students are already on the right track. 130 award winners were recognized at the annual brunch and ceremony. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Since the Adelante Awards launched, more than 1,600 students have been honored. If virtual reality, video, gaming, and digital characters are your style, you've come to the right place. We're talking about the E3 conference. Anna Marcos has more on the recent industry event.
You never know what sorts of virtual reality characters you'll meet walking down these halls. This was the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3 convention for short, an electric 3 days of digital doodling and video gaming adventure. The event drew more than 68,000 video gamers and industry people to the LA Convention Center.
I come every time I can. The energy, the excitement, the fans, the consumers, the developers.
Motivation is really just living the experience. I've never been to a convention, so I really want to start off with a big bang and go to E3.
I got my first system. It was a Super Nintendo when I was 5 years old. My parents got me that for Christmas, and it's just been a little obsession ever since.
At one time, E3 was an industry-only event, but it has since opened up to let all the gamers themselves in. Spider lovers, Pokemon players, Creed dweebs, and Tomb Raider types, these games are for you.
We're talking about people who are serious about gaming, mobile gamers, streamers, Twitch streamers, and esports teams. That's really our target audience.
And look who else is part of the target audience. We caught our own Channel 35 social media guy and video gamer in the closet, Joe Belden, playing hooky from work. Of course, the diehard gamers got an extra perk, a sneak peek at all the new games and gadgets coming out on the market.
It's really fun. It's really exciting to see the new games come out. We get to see it before anybody else does, so I'm really excited about that.
Me, I'm just excited to see all the demos. Really, I'm excited to play the new Tomb Raider.
Yes, did we mention? They got to play with all those toys. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The E3 convention had about 300 exhibitors showing off more than 2,000 products. Well, we have the power to make sustainable change, and it all starts at home. Rasha Goel has more on a starter gift from the LADWP that gives you the tools needed to lighten your home and your bills.
Yana, I'm in Venice, and let me tell you, there should be no more excuses for residents when it comes to saving electricity and lowering their electric bills. In fact, the LADWP is going door to door and handing residents 2 LED light bulbs to help promote and encourage energy efficiency. This is the last bunch of energy-saving LED light bulbs being distributed to the 1.4 million LADWP customers in the past 3 months. This latest campaign is a repeat of LADWP's first free LED bulb delivery, which took place at the end of 2016 to help customers save energy and money.
The 2 LED light bulbs that they're going to get in a very attractive little bag today is going to help them save approximately 138 kilowatt hours annually over the lifetime of these light bulbs, which are much more energy efficient than the incandescent light bulbs that they have now. Over the lifetime of the light bulb, they'll also be able to save $476 in energy savings and costs.
Residents are happy about the delivery, and for some, it's been a matter of making the change.
I think that's a brilliant idea, no pun intended. I think that, if we can help save our resources, our natural resources, and at the same time save some money, that's a wonderful thing.
I've just gotten my first LED bulbs recently. I've been a resistant person, to tell you the truth. I haven't wanted to do it because I liked my very strong 100-watt bulbs. But I just got some recently, and I'm really happy that I have them, and I'm looking forward to having more.
Making the switch will also contribute to the long-term savings and sustainability for the city.
The cumulative savings are going to be over 4,000 gigawatts of electricity saved and $6.66 million in cumulative savings with all of these LEDs that we distribute today.
Imagine if we all adopted it as a way of life, a win-win for everyone all around. In Venice, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
And remember, when you are changing out a burned CFL, do not throw it out in the trash can, but you'll need to drop it off at a hazardous waste or e-waste center or to a designated retail store. A workshop helps teach vendors how to do business with the city. LA River Day highlights all the fun things you can do on the LA River, and Union Station gets transformed into a real-life art exhibit. All this in City Beat. The City of Los Angeles and the local business community teamed up recently for the 3rd annual Accessing LA event. It was a chance for contractors and vendors to get information and hear presentations on how to do business with the city. Accessing LA promotes the city's vision of fostering the inclusion and economic development of all LA residents and businesses. It was the 5th annual River Day at City Hall to celebrate the kickoff of kayaking season and elevate the profile of all the great recreational opportunities available at the LA River.
Every day of the year, people are working on making the Los Angeles River better, more beautiful, more accessible, safer, cleaner. And so our annual River Day highlights all of those efforts.
Folks at the historic waiting room at Union Station got to be part of an interactive art installation. Artist Alexa Mead welcomed visitors to step into the living artwork and create their own vision of the season. Expected to make a big splash this summer are free and affordable swim lessons for kids at LA City Pools. As Gil Reyes reports, close to 50 city pools are taking part.
Does your child know how to swim? If not, the city is offering low-cost and no-cost lessons all summer long at a city pool near you. Mayor Eric Garcetti launches a safety program called Swim LA.
Second leading cause of death, accidental death, for kids under 14 is drowning in a pool. But we also want kids to get excited about the Olympics. 2028 Olympics and Paralympics will be here. And this means that some of these kids might be champions in their own backyard in a decade's time.
The LA Department of Rec and Parks is doubling the number of affordable classes for kids of every skill and ability level. Studies show these fun, potentially life-saving skills drop in communities of color. According to the USA Swimming Foundation, 45% of Latino kids don't know how to swim. That number jumps to 64% among African American kids.
Swimming is a fundamental life skill, as the mayor has mentioned, and we have a duty to ensure that every kid has the ability and the right to learn how to swim.
The Expo Center's pool in Exposition Park is one of nearly 50 city pools participating, staying open later than usual so that every kid that doesn't know how to swim has a chance to learn.
Remember what summertime is like to a youth. It's an eternity. These 3 months are an eternity to these kids. So the fact that we can bring this to them now means a whole lot.
Jump right in. Find classes near you at swimla.org. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Last year, the city offered 18,000 of these low-cost and no-cost classes. This season, they're doubling up with 36,000 classes. Come on out for several 4th of July celebrations in the city, and classic cars take center stage on the LA waterfront. All this in this week's Things to Do. Councilmember Gil Cedillo will host his free 4th of July annual MacArthur Park Independence Day Festival. It'll conclude with a firework display over MacArthur Park Lake. The event will also feature community booths, a kids zone, food, arts, and crafts. All the fun takes place on Saturday, June 30th from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at the Levitt Pavilion at MacArthur Park, located at 2230 West 6th Street. For more info, call 323-550-1538. Councilmember Curran Price will also be having his own fireworks show at Exposition Park. The day will be filled with free family fun with live music, games, food, and activities for all ages. Pack a blanket and sweater for the evening. The event kicks off at 11 a.m. with live entertainment, and fireworks extravaganza comes to life at dusk around 9 p.m. Kicking off an exciting summer lineup on the LA waterfront, make sure to head to San Pedro for the 10th annual Cars and Stripes Forever. More than 100 pre-1975 classic cars and motorcycles will be on display. Crowning the festivities will be a dazzling fireworks presentation that begins at 9:15. The event takes place on June 29th from 5 to 10 p.m. at Harbor Boulevard and the Vincent Thomas Bridge. The family event is free and open to all ages. For more, visit lawaterfront.org. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Pack up your bags and hop on Metrolink. Let's take Metrolink to San Juan Capistrano. Take Metrolink's Orange County line or Inland Empire Orange County line and exit at San Juan Capistrano. Welcome to the Los Rios Historic District. After exiting Metrolink, cross the tracks and you'll find Sarducci's. Welcome to Sarducci's. Sarducci's is an historic site and was originally built in 1894 as Capistrano Depot. It was then renovated in 1974-75 as a restaurant. Not only is Sarducci's in the heart of the Los Rios Historic District, they're Metrolink Rewards partners too. By showing your valid Metrolink ticket, you can get a deliciously discounted meal. While you're in San Juan Capistrano, follow the roadmap to Ortega Highway and check out the opulent Mission Basilica San Juan Capistrano. The Mission was established in 1776 and is considered to be the birthplace of Orange County. Once you walk into the Basilica, you can marvel at the ornate statues and wonderful architecture. It's truly a sight to see. Within the Los Rios Historic District, you can find Zumar's Petting Zoo.
We believe that being with animals makes us better people. We believe that spending time with family and friends makes the world a better place. We believe that fresh air, sunshine, celebrations, and laughter are good for the soul. That's why we're here.
With Metrolink, you can explore historical Southern California with your family and friends.
Hi, I'm Gina Ray, and this is my dog Whippet. We're from Winnetka. Get it, girl. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. This is our city and our channel.
Good morning, good morning. Today is Tuesday. If everyone would please take their seats. Shh. Today is Tuesday, June 26th. I want to welcome you to City Hall, welcome you to the Los Angeles City Council. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorin, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Harris Dawson moves, Rodriguez seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Price moves and Koretz seconds. Next.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Okay, we'll be led today by Ms. Rodriguez. If you would lead us in our flag salute. All rise, all rise.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Let's run through the agenda.
Mr. President, there is a request to continue item 44 to Tuesday, July 3rd.
So ordered. Continue.
Items 1 and 2 are items noticed for public hearing.
Do you have cards?
Yes, there are cards on both items.
Continue.
Items 3 through 31 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Let's move on to the next section in the agenda.
And Mr. President, the items with ordinances will be carried over unless reconsidered later this meeting.
Thank you.
Items 32 through 45 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do you have cards on these items?
There are cards on items 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 45.
Okay, let's try to vote on the remaining items. Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where?
Item 46 is an item scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold it on the desk?
At this point, why don't we hold that item? That brings us where?
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's get into our multi-public comment. If you, Mr. Sergeant. Yes, Mr. Rue.
Special?
We have to vote to reconsider that item. So on item 28, we're going to vote for reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, so now we'll hold that for you. Mr. Rue will deal with it later. Okay, let's go to general public comment. Mr. Previn, if you'd come forward, items 1, 2, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 45. Mr. Previn, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure you got those right, sir, because some of those are not on the agenda for speaking, but are you offering them up? Well, let's just move forward. Item number 1 and 2 are both business improvement districts. Now, I think people would be interested to note that the Fashion District one is about 2,288 parcels with 1,300 stakeholders, and they're yanking in off of this thing over an 8-year period, $56 million. First year is going to be $5 million. So that's a tremendous kind of rollout that they're getting. And what they do is they provide some security and other things. I was wondering if they could help with the bicycle retrofitting and all the taking care. I mean, this is an enormous assessment on those folks. The one in Hollywood, if you thought those numbers were interesting, this one is 1,000 parcels, so about half the number as the Fashion District, and it pulls in $85 million over 10 years, so that's $7 million the first year. It's an even larger number in Mr. O'Farrell's district, so mazel tov. But I would say it would be great if they were working not just at law enforcement, but also at making the place a little, and maybe they are. I certainly hope so. Sunshine Canyon landfill is they get community money because of the stinking mess. In November of 2016, it started doing it again. Englander deploys the money, which is not my favorite subject, and he spends a lot of it disproportionately, toward the LAPD, a party car for $100,000, as if that's the burning need right now in that district. It's not. And then he spent almost $40,000 or something on his movie project. I just wonder, and some of it's supposed to be 5 miles around the zone for the impacted folks. Now, some of this money today, $40,000, is going out to the whole CD12, and who knows? He's looking to fund the solid cadets, so keep your eye on that ball. It's impossible to tell what he's up to on there. Now, sir, the idea of a municipal bank comes from the right place. But unfortunately, we've reviewed it carefully, and a group like you, who are elected officials, cannot possibly be involved in that kind of a thing. We've seen it firsthand in respect to the TOT taxes, like that item 130849 that I certainly hope you didn't sign while you were playing mayor this weekend. But, we're not giving away the public's money over there, and you can't see under taxpayer confidentiality. Appreciate it, but no thank you. Now, maybe there's a way. These are intelligent folks who have a reasonable idea. But, given the Wells Fargo pinky finger commitment you made, when we are waiting for the Department of Water and Power to provide the payment processing contract, which I believe they have and is an enormous contract, it's extremely lucrative, we are hardly, and I know Mike Fuhr's here, punishing Wells Fargo, although he was there in the beginning, and we appreciate what he did on that. In terms of liquor licenses for the off beverage, on beverage, you got one on your agenda today for a barkeeper situation. I hear about all these car accidents, and
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Let's give him his minute of general public comment.
Okay, my general public comment will be brief. Thank you, sir. Last Friday, you had an item 24, and you amended it to 24A. And it was not a technical amendment, as the city attorney well knows, as does AVOC. And you can't do that. You can't amend an item and have 5 departments look at a particular matter. The specific matter is of great interest to me. It's providing a structure for charging people to park at night, safe LA parking, whatever it's called. But it's not clear whether or not the city would be charging the not-for-profits under H, which would be a complete violation, in my opinion, or somehow charging a small fee for folks who need $5 because I think people want a place to spend the night. It's not a crime to be trying to make it to your job on time, near a place where you can shower, near a place where you can use a restroom, and live. When you don't have a choice, the vehicle is the last bit of shelter. So I think it's important. So that kind of an item deserves an opportunity to comment. So put it back on the agenda, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Okay, let's get Antonio Ramirez, item 1, 2, 38, 40, and 42. Ms. Ramirez, please come forward. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Under number 1. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the Fashion District is in dire shambles. It is a cesspool. We need to first clean up the gang infestation, the drug infestation, and the human degradation. Number 2, Hollywood. Hell no. Hollywood has done nothing but glamorize sex, drugs, humiliation, degradation, and made Americans feel lower than they've ever been. They're too busy idolizing and putting up the wetbacks and the gangbangers up in pedestals. Why? Because they get their drugs from the wetbacks and the gangbangers. So fuck Hollywood. And what was the other one, number 24? Number 24.
No, not 24, 38, Ms. Ramirez.
Thank you, sir, very much. You're very kind. Number 38, excuse me. And 38, Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. We will never, ever, ever have empowerment in any neighborhood as long as these goddamn fucking gangs control the gangs all over in the neighborhoods. That includes the Mexican Mafia, Mara Salvatrucha, Norteños, Sureños, 18th Street, and all the other goddamn gangs. They control the neighborhoods. That is their turf. There is no freedom, justice, life, liberty, and freedom to own your property. These motherfuckers break into your homes every single minute, and nobody talks about the invasion of privacy, not to mention the out of control and rampant theft, and burglaries of your entire existence. Get these motherfuckers and napalm these wetbacks and gangbangers, and then there will be neighborhood empowerment. Fuck the wetbacks and gangbangers.
Okay, now you go to another item. Okay, go to another item. 1 minute per item. Go to another item.
And the other
40.
item is excuse me, thank you very much. Natural habitat. We should the LA Zoo. We should send all the wetbacks and gangbangers into the LA Zoo, and we should see what their inclinations are, and then put them back in their natural habitat. Send the goddamn
Mr.
monkeys
President,
back where they
speakers
belong.
on the agenda item.
Thank you so very much. God bless America. And can we do now my general public comments?
Give her 1 minute. 1 minute for general public comment.
Thank you. Oye, oye, oye. Ramirez Federal Court is now in session. First, we welcome our Honorable United States Attorney General Jeff Sessions to gang and drug-infested downtown LA. The rule of law will now be enforced under our brilliant Honorable President Donald Trump. The order of the day is as follows. No more DACA, which is an illegal document. No more amnesty. No asylum. Ban all dangerous countries, including Nigeria. Furthermore, all racist, hate-mongering, Chango Latino wetbacks or gangbangers who came here out of fraudulent INS paperwork, entered into sham marriages, overstayed their visas, and who came here and illegally and are undesirables. We have ICE waiting. You are all to be deported. You fucking wetbacks and gangbangers. We are giving America back to the people and giving them back their life,
Okay,
liberty.
your time's expired. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Ramirez, your time is over. Okay, Madam Clerk and City Attorney, that concludes the comment section of today's agenda. So it is, we're now going to move forward into the presentation. Well, before we do that, let's vote on items 1, 38, 39, 40, and 41. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Now we'll vote on items 42 and 43. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Madam City Attorney, it's my understanding that the closed session item can be dealt with in open session.
Yes, Mr. President. The recommendation is to approve the city attorney's recommendation for settlement on this item. The items can be voted in open session, and the clerk will read the settlement amounts into the record.
Madam Clerk.
In the matter of UBS Securities LLC and UBS Financial Services, Inc., the recommendation is that UBS pay $4,579,833.70 to the city, and that the city waive a total of $2,286,788.22 in associated penalties.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on that item. If you'd open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you. If I could get Mr. Englander, we're going to go into the presentation portion of today's agenda. I'm going to ask Mr. Tobin to join me. He already has. Janice, you want to come up as well? Now, Gary, I wanted you to officially hear public comment one more time, so that's why I chose to make you wait a moment. You know what, members, I can't say that Gary was born to be the president and CEO of the LA Chamber of Commerce. But when you look at his past life, you would believe that he was being groomed to fill that role. Gary has been associated with chambers throughout this country since the 70s. He's worked in Nebraska, in Kansas, the northern Kentucky region. And in 2006, we were fortunate enough to get him to sign up to run the largest chamber in this region, over 1,600 members, employees almost 700,000. You know, Gary is just a phenomenal man. If you are the father of daughters, you want them to marry somebody like Gary Tobin. No, I didn't say you, Gary. I said somebody like you. If you are a father, you would be unbelievably proud to have a son like Gary Tobin. And those of us in this horseshoe that know him are very proud to have him as our dear friend. The relationship with this council and the LA Chamber is a storied one, and it goes back decades and decades and decades. But members, I submit to you that there has never been a better relationship between our LA Chamber and this Los Angeles City Council since now. And that you can attribute directly to Gary Tobin. Whenever there has been a need, Gary has always been there. Like I said, he's here with, Gary and I are both lifers. You know, we both joke with one another that we married above our station, and he's here with his lovely wife. They have 4 children, I think ages 34 through 39. And they have 7 grandchildren. And Gary, I just found out a little while ago that I'm getting closer to you. I'm going to have my 4th child. So if you stop, my kids keep going, I'll catch you at 7. Now, Gary is supposed to be focused primarily on just business, and he has been. So it feels a little unique to get up here and say one of the main reasons why we as a city are so focused on dealing with homelessness, we are so committed to dealing with homelessness, is because of the work that Gary has been doing for years, when many of us might have believed that we could arrest our way out of this situation or just move people around. It was Gary, the chamber partnered with United Way that basically said to us, these people are not going to disappear. We have got to come up with a comprehensive plan, and we have to find a place for them to actually stay. That was the leader of our chamber that came into our offices and throughout the city of Los Angeles delivering that message. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Gary Tobin. Let's give Gary a round of applause. And like I said, he's such a nice guy that I have never, ever, no, only one time did I hear him swear. Only one time did I hear Gary Tobin curse. And that was on the night that the residents of this city passed Triple H by almost 80%, and it was a joyful curse, okay? He is just that kind of guy. Gary is going to be moving on to the next chapter in his life, and we wanted Gary to bring you before this council just to let you know how much we truly appreciate you. Members, I'm joined today by an individual that is not a stranger, an individual that was here with me last week, I believe, and that's our city attorney. So if you could give a round of applause to Mike Feuer, our city attorney.
Thank you. Thank you, President Wesson. I want to just say a couple words. You know, Herb really focused us where we need to be focused for a second, because Gary Tobin not only has been a remarkable leader for the business community, but he has recognized the deep connections between job creation on the one hand and having a strong transportation system here on the other. Between assuring that we have a very meaningful source of water here. We work together on water issues and a vital business climate here in Los Angeles. Housing, Herb referred to housing. Every time we as a community have been focused on trying to expand affordable housing, Gary has been there. Not just on issues of homelessness on the streets of our city, but on preventing people from becoming homeless in the first place. On our education system, recognizing again that a great city can thrive only when we have a strong education system that is able to lift every one of our kids up. I wanted to be here today because I know that in his heart, Gary recognizes that each of those elements can come together in a great city. And Gary has been an extraordinary leader in the forefront on all of those issues. I've had a chance to work with you, Gary, when I was in the state legislature and now as a city attorney. And no matter what the context, you're a thoughtful, wise, considerate person who always brings an idea to the table from the standpoint of how can we be constructive and solve the challenge we have before us. The business community has benefited enormously from you, Gary, but all of us in Los Angeles have benefited from your leadership. And it's a great thing to be able to be here with Janice and to stand together and hear these accolades, but know how deeply felt they are, and know that on behalf of all of us in the city, we wish you a wonderful next chapter in a life that has already had so many successes. Gary, congratulations.
We do have a couple members on the board. Councilmember Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mike, for your comments. I'm actually happy to be the first among the horseshoe to stand up, because Gary and I are on often opposite ends of issues and on the political spectrum, but I am one progressive who absolutely adores you and is grateful for the work that you've done in Los Angeles. I remember when you first got named as head of the chamber, I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. I was on the advisory board of Lane at that time and was working for Bill Rosendahl, and one of the first things you talked about was LAX and moving the runway. And I said, oh, wow, we're going to be at war with this guy for a long time. And when I was running for office, you were definitely among a number of the folks at the chamber who were skeptical, I'll put it politely, of my candidacy. But we sat down and we talked. As I recall, I was brought in several times for continual talks. But we came to a shared understanding and passion and commitment to issues like homelessness and transportation. And those were the signature issues of the chamber under your tenure. And we got to do a lot of great work together on those issues. And I loved the direction that you brought the chamber in under your time. It became a chamber with a heart and a chamber with a vision. The heart was shown certainly in homelessness. The vision was shown not just in transportation, but also I'm very proud of the work that the chamber's done with the Bixel Exchange and looking forward to the new economy. And it has shown something that we don't often see in politics anymore, civility and a willingness to reach across the aisle. There are times when we disagreed very strongly on the minimum wage or fracking, or I could go on and on, I guess. But there was never a time when we disagreed, and I saw you a few hours later, where you were not an absolute gentleman, where you didn't extend your hand to greet me, and where when we had time we had an opportunity to talk about what issues we can work on together. And LAX was one of them, you know. In the end, we got to the place we wanted to be, both of us, on LAX. I will say I've heard him curse once as well. It was right after I took office, when I stole Jessica Duboff away from the chamber. He called me a son of something. But then he got back at me and he stole her back, so he won in the end. I just want to thank you, Gary, for the work that you've done. I'm sorry that Janice had to come and hear some of the comments today, but Gary's had to listen to a lot of that over the years. And he sat there as a gentleman, and it's a record of civility and gentlemanship that is too often absent in our politics, but what you've shown is that it's not dead, it's still alive, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Blumenfield.
Thank you. Well, I want to certainly echo some of the comments that have already been made. I mean, Gary, I've gotten to know you both in the legislature and here in City Hall. I remember the first few times going up to Sacramento and meeting with you in the chamber. And, you know, as was said, we don't always agree on everything, but one of the great things you epitomize or personify the idea that you can disagree without being disagreeable. Yeah. And that you can work with people and find common solutions. And we found common solutions on lots of projects, whether it was the, you know, early on working, and Mike, we worked on this, on the stadium deal, trying to figure out an expedited judicial review that didn't circumvent CEQA, or figuring out ways on infrastructure. We talked a lot about infrastructure and how we could lower the threshold, how we can work together to find ways to invest. Because you've always been that advocate for investment. How do we get this city to move forward and support the businesses that are here? You recognize that small business is the engine that grows our economy, and you always remind us that multiple times during the year when we're doing something that you think will be damaging to business. You don't just say that, you say, and don't forget, business is what drives us. Business is what creates those jobs. And that's been a very helpful voice in the conversation. So I'm grateful to all the work that you've done, the way that you've done it, and what you've brought this chamber into being a first-class chamber for the city of Los Angeles and an example for the state of California and the country. So thank you, Gary, and good luck.
Councilmember Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too, Gary, just want to thank you for your service. Thank you and your wife for the years of service to this community. And you've been a friend not only for big businesses, but as my colleague pointed out, for the small businesses. And so we've appreciated your perspective. And even on some conversations, you've been supporting micro businesses in ways that we think have been very progressive. But your leadership with the chamber on bigger issues like homelessness, like housing, like education, have been significant and important. I was proud when the chamber supported our Ban the Box initiative, again, as a kind of positive, progressive kind of measure that gets more people working. So we just appreciate that. And you've always been a friend, always been approachable. I appreciated your speaking, I think, at my swearing in, my initial swearing in. And always one, even though we sometimes didn't agree, always agreed to talk, always agreed to try to find the middle ground, always agreed to try to do the best for the city. And so that's why we just appreciate your service, that of your wife, and the contribution that your family has made by supporting you. And so we appreciate you. Keep up the good work. Congratulations on a job well done.
Mr. Harris Dawson.
Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. City Attorney and Mr. President, for bringing this presentation today. I just wanted to rise and say congratulations and thank you for your time as the leader of the business movement here in Los Angeles. I can remember first meeting with you and working with you on education at the Community Coalition and the tremendous work that was done with LAUSD. LAUSD takes a lot of criticism, and a lot of it is earned and legitimate. But what all of us with you at the leadership can say during this time period is we went from having one of the lowest graduation rates of any big city district in the country to now having record-breaking graduation rates almost every year for the last few years. And you all led out in that. This is not to speak of your work with homelessness, and was happy to partner with you on homelessness, getting on the council. You know, it's funny, after Triple H and a lot of the things that we've done on homelessness in this city, people from other cities come and they want to meet, and they say, well, what are you guys doing in LA? How are you putting it together? And I said, well, have you talked to your Chamber of Commerce? And they laugh at me because chambers of commerce in other places are not as progressive and not as engaged, and do not put as much at stake to solve the big social problems that we face here in Southern California. And so I just rise to say congratulations, thank you, and again, as you clock out, as you clock out from your time at the chambers, know that Southern California has the most dynamic and aggressive infrastructure plan of any big city anywhere in the country. Our school system is improving faster than any other big city school system anywhere in the country, and homelessness finally at long last is going down, and we can see the end of homelessness in our future. And so thank you so much, Mr. Tobin.
Yeah, that was well said.
Mr. Huizar.
No, this
Thank you very much, Gary. And, I recall when you first got here, I caught you at the Hollywood Bowl at a mariachi event. And halfway through it, I think you and Janice looked at me and said, when is this going to end? Mariachi goes on and on and on. But little did you know that here in Los Angeles, mariachi is everywhere. So it never ended, Gary. It never ended.
It's still going.
It's still going. But thank you so much. I think I want to as well congratulate you for a job well done, particularly in homelessness for me, because I recall it was you, the Chamber, United Way, who were beating the drum on homelessness before all this new HHH and H and everything else. And in fact, the city's strategic plan on homelessness that we adopted, we used your plan as a framework by which to do that. And so thank you so much for all your work. You and your staff have done an incredible job. But as Mr. Bonin said, you took the chamber in a new direction that allows for collaboration and knowing that we're all in this together, no matter where we stand in this city, what we believe in, we're in this together, and let's work together to solve the city's problems. And you showed us that that's possible. Thank you so much, Gary, for your work.
Well said. Well said.
Mr. Cedillo.
Gary, President of our council says that the political winds go from the west to the east. And California is leading the way and has led the way on Dreamers. We actually have a California Dream Act. We have driver's licenses for undocumented motorists, including DACA. We have a lot of conditions and circumstances for the immigrant community that don't exist anywhere else. And a lot of it comes from the leadership of the chamber under your direction. And I want to thank you because the movement in California for the Dreamers was a broad coalition of which the chamber played a major role. In fact, I will say to you, I know that when you and your spokespersons were on the front page of the LA Times with a great pull quote, it played a major role in us moving the DREAM Act forward, getting the signature from the governor. And so I want to thank you for that, for the DREAM Act, for your work with immigrants. You're a very inclusive person, and your work on the homelessness. So it's all been said, but let me add my voice to that chorus. Obviously, today in this country, there's a discussion about civility and the need for it. Unfortunately, it comes from those who are less civil in their policies, but yet want to have a polite conversation about it. That does not apply to you. You are a genuine human being. You are authentic. You're very enjoyable. And I know that you're not going to be at the chamber, but I still look forward to seeing you after. I think we might be able to go to a few more basketball games. And, you know, if the trades work out, I think we're going to have a great time in the upcoming season. So God bless. It's much deserved. I know what some of your plans are, and I envy you. And all I can say is take advantage of each and every moment. You are blessed. You have an incredible partner. And a real good reason to get up every day. So good luck with those honeydews, and God bless.
Councilmember Correct.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, a lot of what I might have wanted to say has already been said, so I will wish you a happy and successful retirement after the incredible leadership that you've provided. I'll just talk about one issue that hasn't been touched on. Both Gil Cedillo and myself did a lot of work in the state legislature towards fighting wage theft and companies and industries that paid their employees well below minimum wage and violated the law in multiple ways. And at the state level, we didn't have much success because the state chamber fought for its scofflaw members over its law-abiding members. And there were even organizations that were created, I don't remember the names, but in essence, the League of Janitorial Employers that paid their employees legally, and other entities, and they had no success. And when the city of Los Angeles sought to deal with wage theft, the LA Chamber of Commerce could have done the same thing and fought against their employers actually having to do the right thing, and it didn't. And the LA Chamber, I think, has done the right thing more often than anyone has expected in a number of areas that have already been mentioned, and that one as well. And I appreciate your leadership for that, and we'll miss you, and we hope your replacement does nearly as good a job as you have done in the times that we've worked cooperatively together.
Gary, so what's been said so far is all true. But I want to talk a little bit about you. So when you came in to the chamber in 2006, I was the chief of staff. I was a staff member for a council member. And I will tell you, the way that you personally have treated staff in this building, and not just staff in this building, but everybody, is completely equal and on par, the same time, attention, and presence. You always have presence. Any conversation I've ever had with you, you're present. You're focused, you're attentive, you're listening, you're adding input at all levels. And it's an incredibly rare quality. And it's one that you've always had, that you treat everybody as a friend. And it's an incredible quality. And I'll never forget it. And you never changed. When I became a council member, I wasn't treated any different. You'd still use four-letter words, and they weren't just on good occasions. No, but your humbleness, your approach, your ethics, always focused, and always with the message of the chamber. No matter what the issue was, and we already talked a lot about how you played a pivotal role in steering the chamber towards so many programs that the city has initiated and improved. But what you were able to do because of your relationships and the person you are is an incredible opportunity of networking, of not just having one of the largest chambers with some of the biggest members of LA, but getting all of their staff from those businesses in creating, as Councilmember Bonin mentioned earlier, things like Bixel Exchange, other programs where you took young leaders, future leaders, and got them involved and engaged, gave them a seat at the table, let them develop relationships, was extraordinary. And it's a legacy, because the relationships that you've created and helped nurture will go on to shape the city for generations. And you did that because of your personality, because of who you are, your foundation, and I won't forget it. And today I celebrate that, trying to take a little piece of Gary Tobin, and we all should think about that all the time in any conversation we have with anybody, that no matter who they are, they're the most important person in the room. They're the most important person you're having a conversation with, and everything they say is important. And it didn't have to just be here. We were traveling year after year after year, and Access DC, you did the same thing. You would have Congress members and senators and mayors, and you name it in the room, and it didn't matter. Everybody, no matter what, who was in the room was the most important person. And you've always done that. And it's a unique quality, and it's special. And so thank you for being a friend to so many. God bless you. Mr. West.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Gary Tobin.
Thank you. You were very kind today. And it has been a wonderful opportunity for Janice and me to work at your side to build the economy and the quality of life in Los Angeles. I'd like to recognize some of the members of my staff, my public policy staff who are here this morning. They're the ones that you see at so many meetings here at City Hall, and I appreciate them very much. As several of you have alluded to, it wasn't always a happy time when I stood before you. I remember not long ago, in 1 week, I championed an issue and you voted 15-0 in support. And I was pretty excited. And 2 days later, I championed an issue and you voted 13-1 opposed. Now, I thought I was on the side of the angels in both cases, but you disagreed. But that's okay. I understand that. From the perspective of a Chamber of Commerce executive, you never forget how important it is to build the economy of a community, because none of the public services that you want to provide are possible without the tax revenue that's generated from jobs and businesses. And we never forget that. And we wake up every day thinking about that. And we also wake up every day knowing that to create a better community requires change and courage. And finally, we remember that every day, for most people in our city, quality of life begins with a job. You've been partners with me for 12 years. The Chamber has been in existence since 1884, when there were 50,000 people in Los Angeles, and I'm proud of the role that our organization and the members of the Chamber over those 130 years have played in building one of the great urban centers in the world. I thank you for your friendship and for your partnership, and I ask you to give the same kind of opportunity to my successor, Maria Salinas, as you work together every day to make this city a better place to live and to work and to do business. Thank you.
Let's give him something that, you know, put on the back of the Winnebago. So. Why don't you just tell them, pretend they're me? Okay? All right. Let's give Gary one more round of applause.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, before we turn our attention back over to the agenda, we have a special announcement from Councilmember Blumenfield.
All right, if you guys are coming over here, I just wanted to acknowledge there's 6 young people who are coming here about to stand behind me or with me, and I wanted to recognize them because they are the elite survivors of the Blumenfield intern selection process. They have each jumped over fire. They have proven themselves interested in politics, in good governance, in helping their community, and in a desire to learn more about how government works. And they've committed themselves to working this summer, and they're here today to see what happens here in council. They'll be working 5 of them in the district office, 1 here in City Hall, but they're going to be learning that whole process, and I wanted you all to meet them because they're going to be the power that makes District 3 fly. And specifically here with me, we've got James St. John, who is a CSUN graduate. He's been doing it for a while. Jacob Daw from Cal Lutheran, Shani Ibadi from USC, Crystal Rabizadeh, did I pronounce it right? Rabizadeh, who's a student at Syracuse, Brennan Obeto, who is a student at CSU Long Beach, and most recently now Austin Lee from UCSD. So let's give them all a round of applause for being part of this process. Thank you, guys, and thank you for being willing to do this. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Thank you. Colleagues, we've got a number of items to reconsider for ordinances now that we've got appropriate vote count. So items 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. We're going to open the roll for reconsideration. Again, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay? Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, those items are now before us for reconsideration. We'll go, or actually to vote, and so we'll go ahead and vote on those items. We can open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, those are approved. We also have items 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37 for reconsideration. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are now before us. We can go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention back over to the agenda. We'll go ahead and go to item 2. Carrie Morrison. Cetrick. Kenyon. William Little.
Okay. Good morning, members of the City Council. Today is the public hearing on the renewal of the Hollywood Entertainment District. I'm just here representing the district and wanted to point out something rather historic that is happening with this renewal. The 2 bids, the Sunset and Vine bid and the Hollywood Entertainment District bid, are merging into one unified business improvement district for Hollywood, and the 2 nonprofit property owner boards are also unifying into one nonprofit board to manage that district for the next 10 years. I want to pay special gratitude to the city clerk's office. They do yeoman's work in supporting the BID program, particularly Rick Scott, Garen Yagparian, Dennis Rader, and Holly Wolcott. We really appreciate the good work of the city clerk's office in overseeing this program. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Cetrick. Followed by William Little.
Dear council members, my name is Cetrick Kenyon. I own a property at 1350 North Cahuenga Boulevard. The Sunset and Vine bid project included us in the project without our consent. So far, we paid over $30,000. They're supposed to clean graffiti and stuff on our building. None of that happened. We have graffiti on our building over 3 years old. And also, I filed a petition so council member can read my petition to exclude us from this project here at this point, from the Hollywood Entertainment Project, which is from the original Sunset and Vine, putting us $40,000 to almost $100,000 to $130,000 a year to remove graffiti on our property. That's graffiti still there for over 3-4 years. In my opinion, Sunset and Vine project, which is now, it's an organized crime trying to take the small properties in Hollywood from the public at large for the benefit of the big property owners. I would like the members to read my file.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, Walter. Is it Child?
Hi, Walter Schild. I am asking that the council consider, I'm a business owner of the property at 1708 North Vine, and I believe that what's happened is a handful of large property owners and city-owned property have combined and colluded to get to a 50% threshold to pass this. Already in CD5 and CD13, we have had a doubling of our trash bills, a 50% increase in minimum wage, and up to 18 paid sick leave days. And the speaker earlier that was being awarded a plaque had talked about business tax and employment taxes supporting this. And I commend that speaker for acknowledging that businesses and employee taxes are critical to funding our city government. And this $100,000 increase in our property taxes the last gentleman spoke to is crushing. So I ask that you consider small business property owners. We employ a handful of people in the city. We don't want a few large owners to pass this, and I think the city should exclude its 10% stake in its school.
Thank you very much. William Little?
Yes, I gave a handout, a two-page handout, but I only had 7 copies. I wasn't aware I needed one for everybody. I own a property for the last approximately 30 years. It's a low-income apartment house, 30 units, 6373 Yucca Street. And I might add, where are the low-income units in Hollywood? Not too many, okay? We never have vacancies there. The rents are kept low by rent control. It's the average rent, adding them all up and dividing, is $954 a month with parking. Now, there's no benefit to the low-income tenants from the services that the business district is imposing on my building, and the property taxes, it's about 30% of my total tax bill, the assessment. There's an apartment right across the street that's low income as well, 6376 Yucca. All I'm asking is that
Thank you. Herman, for 1 minute.
It's never a waste of time, sir. 42 U.S.C. 1983. The hearing today is to protest Section 36600 ETSEQ of the California Street Highways. I'm here to say to you, Mr. O'Farrell, representing Justice for All, that we oppose these taxes and these liens and all these goddamn ballots that are held this Wednesday, June 27, 2018. For I am the public announcement, as I put it, 42 U.S.C. 1983. Fuck all you white nigger politicians for taking advantage of we the people. We, I, everyone in here behind me is the legislative body, and we call to order this goddamn local entity and that stupid motherfucker that sits up there talking while I'm speaking. Fuck you, keep 6 seconds.
Thank you very much. That concludes public comment on that item. Colleagues, we can go ahead and vote on that item now. Go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Okay.
And Mr. President, for the record, the public hearing is closed on items 1 and 2, and the announcement of the ballot tabulation results will be made tomorrow in council June 27th.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead. Mr. Rood, you had a comment on item 28?
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to rise in support of this item and the recommendation before us to enshrine CBS Television City as a historical cultural landmark. This is not only preserving a piece of Los Angeles history, a studio where Lucille Ball and Carol Burnett broadcast their shows live to the world, but it will keep valuable studio space right here in Los Angeles. Production studios remain a rare commodity in Los Angeles, and with recent figures puts the city's sound stages occupancy rate at about 96%. In a city where sound stages are in high demand, preserving Television City is as much about preserving jobs, I might add high-paying jobs, as preserving a piece of history. But more importantly, I am so thrilled that the Los Angeles Conservancy and CBS have come together jointly and agreed to preserve the studio space. This compromise shows that development in Los Angeles doesn't have to be all or nothing. Today, we can preserve a piece of LA history and protect our local economy all at the same time. With that said, colleagues, I encourage an aye vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, we can go ahead and vote on item 28. We can go to open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That it's approved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to item 45. And I think we'll begin this issue with the comment from the public. So I'm going to call up Josh Androsky, David Jett, Stephen Bell, Haynes Davenport. And please, so we can get through this, folk, when I call you, come on. And just identify yourself and go ahead.
Hi, my name is Josh Androsky, and I am in support of starting a municipal public bank of Los Angeles. I think there's been a lot of talk about how we would save hundreds of millions of dollars per year, billions in interest, but I want to talk about what we would save morally. I want to talk about the fact that Jeff Sessions is here in Los Angeles right now. And right now, because of the status quo, our money, our tax dollars, fees that we pay are being used by banks to profit off of the same detention centers that are ripping families apart. And that is not okay. That is not American, and that certainly is not the Los Angeles where I grew up. And I think that we as Angelenos can come together and lead America in going around Trump's agenda, fighting it by taking control of our own money and putting it into the community, into housing, and into green infrastructure, and basically making a better Los Angeles for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Bell. I'm here with DSA LA. The city pays billions of dollars per year in interest to commercial banks, and we paid over $100 million in fees last year alone. These same banks are under no obligation to lend money to businesses within the city or to extend credit to projects that aim to make a positive impact on its residents and communities. Their sole focus is earning greater interest for their shareholders and reaping record profits year after year. A municipal bank would allow public funds to back loans made to the same city projects that currently cost the public billions in interest and fees. Nearly half of all infrastructure spending could be saved or redirected. A municipal bank could enable the people of LA to recapture public dollars and have an actual say over the finances of our community. We can invest in affordable housing. We could support small businesses and co-ops. We could finance the transition towards renewable energy. We have a chance to actually invest in our city and our people for once, to actually put money toward the betterment of our community rather than lining the pockets of a select few. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. And if I can, before you speak, if I could get Keith Anthony, Sikora, did Haynes Davenport, Madeline Merritt, James Wright. Yes, please identify yourself.
I'm Dave Jetty. I'm with Public Bank LA. Hi, council members, Koretz, Price, Rodriguez, Rio, Bonin, Harris Dawson, City Council President. The City of Los Angeles holds anywhere between $4 and $12 billion in cash at commercial banks, for which it earns next to zero interest. In fact, the city pays hundreds of millions in bank fees and commissions every year to manage our cash and sell our debt. According to the RFP from the for banking services issued by this council, LA paid $3.14 billion in debt service in 2016. A public bank will help us take back a slice of that pie. Public banks are public institutions established and governed by the public to manage public money and to leverage it for lending that supports local infrastructure, local businesses, and local residents. They save money by recapturing interest and fees paid to bank. By refinancing city debt through a public bank, we would save billions in interest payments that would otherwise go to Wall Street. I applaud the city for considering this motion. I urge a yes vote. Let the people decide whether to take the money power back from Wall Street banks, an institution that will grow our economy, reverse inequality, fund a green future, and save taxpayers.
Next, please. Identify yourself and welcome.
Hi, my name is Keith Anthony Sikora. On behalf of Public Bank LA, Revolution LA, and as a concerned Angelino who's lived here for the past 30 years, I just really wanted to come up here, as I know a lot of my fellow activists here are going to probably go more in depth of what, the public, with the whole situation of what public banks can be, but I just wanted to thank the council for actually bringing this to a motion. My comrades and I, we've been fighting for a long time, and the fact that whenever anybody or we do something new, especially when money and power are involved, and especially when it seems so incestuous that government and money are involved, the fact that you all took a look at what we presented to you, that we did it cordially, we did it with alliances, and we did it more with the concern that corporate banks, what they're doing all over the world, and especially here in Los Angeles, is unacceptable. And the fact that you listened to us, that we're here taking it to the next level, I just want to say thank you very much, and that I know that we can make a better Los Angeles with what we do in public banking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I'm James Wright. I'm a concerned citizen here on behalf of the public banking movement. I'm here just to like to point out that Los Angeles has a unique ability to influence trends nationwide and globally. Already, the report of the Chief Legislative Analyst in response to the Council's motion CF 170831 directing the Chief Legislative Analyst to study the feasibility of establishing a municipal bank has already been cited by the City of San Francisco in their own Municipal Bank Feasibility Task Force report to San Francisco's Office of the Treasurer and Tax Collector. As someone who personally has different interpretations of historical examples and general positions cited in our report, this both concerns and inspires me since it illustrates the potential of Los Angeles' power to influence public banking movements nationwide and globally. And reports from the Chief Legislative Analyst suggested that the council identify the specific structure under which the MBLA would operate, as well as this amendment itself. And I
Thank you. Thank you for coming down. Now, before you speak, come on. But before you speak, I want to try to get, I'm going to give this a go. Faramaz Nubavi, Julie McCune, Carlos Mataclean, Christopher Roth, Adam Goldberg. Yes.
Hi, I'm Madeline Merritt. Thank you all for being here and listening. I think we have an incredible opportunity here with the Los Angeles Public Municipal Bank. We have an opportunity to take control over our city's dollars and grow that wealth with the potential to do amazing things in this city in the years to come. I also think that we have an obligation to our people and our environment to look close to home in these times and to make changes that can reverberate throughout the entire world. I think if we do this here in Los Angeles, we have an ability to move our funds out of things that are destructive for humanity, like extractive fossil fuels, oil pipelines, private prisons, and weapons manufacture, and put them into the things that will make our future bright, like renewable energy, small business loans, and raising up people who have had less opportunity in the past into the leaders of our future. So I really appreciate your consideration in passing this motion and putting this on the ballot in November. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, members of the council. I'm here from the San Fernando Valley. My name is Farah Maris Nabavi, and I'm here to speak in support of a municipal public bank for Los Angeles. And I'd like to raise an example of how this can benefit our community. Just last week, I'd like to recognize and thank Arcelia Arce from Councilmember Martinez's office and Humberto Quintana from Councilmember Rodriguez's office, who spoke at the LA Metro Board of Directors Planning and Programming Committee about the vital importance of providing more low-income housing along the East San Fernando Valley Transit Corridor. And the LA Municipal Public Bank could be a source of financing for protecting those communities at risk of rising rents from displacement. So I urge you to go ahead with placing this measure on the ballot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And before we go to the next speaker, I want you guys to forgive me. I forgot to introduce a great man in the city of Los Angeles, has done some phenomenal things, and that's Judge Hatter. And we've got students here from, stand up, Judge, and if we could give these young people a round of applause. I think they're here from other countries. And I'm glad you came today, Judge. I think this is a very unique opportunity for them to hear this conversation where it relates to a public bank. So you couldn't have picked a better day. So back to you, ma'am.
Greetings, council members. I'm Julie McCune, a retired public school teacher, and I value public health, public education, and public banking. I'm a member of League of Women Voters and DSLLA, strong supporter, and ask you to vote yes on Public Bank LA. Item 45, our taxpayer money needs to stay here in our community for the public good, the 99%. It's clear to me the status quo is not working. We must adapt, adjust, and change mid-course when needed. We need to use our limited funds and resources wisely. LA paid over $100 million in fees last year. Let's keep our city's money here. Do not allow it to be extracted to Wall Street for their gain. Let's do this for economic justice, racial justice, social justice, and environmental justice. I urge you to vote yes for Public Bank LA. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Carlos Marroquin. I'm a community organizer, and primarily I work on housing and homelessness. And I want to thank the City Council for taking this into consideration. And I believe that the time has arrived for us to start our dependency on Wall Street and start, looking to the people. I think that it's very important for us to recognize that public banking brings a lot to the table. It brings, right now, especially right now, the way the city has so many needs. I think that public banking is that solution that addresses many of those needs, including homelessness for students that have no place to live. 20% of the students, my understanding is, are homeless or are couch surfing. I think that we need to be able to address a lot of the problems the city faces. Thank you for the motion.
Thank you. Please identify yourself, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, members of the council. My name is Chris Roth. I'm a community organizer with Ground Game Los Angeles. I'm here in support of this measure. It is vitally important for the future of the city that we take control of our funds back away from these banks that have engaged in predatory practices. With our discussion of the Responsible Banking Ordinance Amendment and all of the other things that have been going on with the divestment of Los Angeles funds from these banks that have already proven themselves to be irresponsible and predatory in their practices against senior citizens and people in minority communities and people who have limited access to banking. It is vitally important that we take control of those services and offer them through a municipal bank. I strongly urge you to pass this motion and put it up on the ballot so we can get out there and get people to vote for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Adam Goldberg. I live in North Hollywood. In 1848, William G. Fargo came west to profit off the California gold rush. And 170 years later, he is still profiting off the Golden State. Last year, Wells had one fraudulent account for every 4 Angelinos, and we can do better. A public bank will free us from a company that's proven unworthy of our trust and funds for nearly 2 centuries. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if I could get Trinity, are you here? Trinity and Ellen Brown and Phoenix Goodman. Good to see you again. Come on.
Good to see you. Thank you, Councilmember Wesson and LA City Council members for introducing the Municipal Public Bank motion. This comes at a very pivotal moment in history to transform our banking institution to one that works in the interest of the people and the highest consideration of our environment and our communities. A public bank would maximize taxpayer dollars by supporting the development of low-income housing, critical infrastructure projects, and the transition to clean, renewable energy. So we hope Los Angeles will lead the way to become the first big city to create a municipal public bank to better leverage taxpayer dollars and reinvest them in the economic and social well-being of the people of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you. And Giselle Mata, if you could line up, but identify yourself.
I'm Ellen Brown. I'm chairman of the Public Banking Institute. We really commend you for proceeding with this motion. It's increasingly being recognized by economists that banks don't just recirculate existing money. They actually create money when they make loans. And in fact, 95% of our money supply is created in that way. So currently, our public funds are deposited in Wall Street. They're invested in Wall Street, and they are not coming back to Los Angeles. So if we want to get our money, if we want to generate credit for our own community, we need to bring that money back to Los Angeles, which can then create credit, which creates jobs, creates employment, and that increases the tax base. And we can direct that money into things that actually help our community, not things that hurt our community. So it's a win-win all the way around, and we're really grateful that you're leading the way in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Phoenix Goodman. It's not very often a motion of such magnitude is brought to your agenda. A thing whose significance is so profound that it brings about systemic change, which will define your positions as elected officials as much more than that, but as actually true leaders who left this city better than you came into it, leaving a legacy that posterity will be proud of. Public banking is bigger than finance, and it's bigger than cannabis. It's about ethics, it's about values, it's about financial responsibility, it's about local determination. And it's a bipartisan issue because it saves taxpayer dollars all while doing that. So if it's so great, why are there dissenters? They're dissenters because they represent an unimaginative, desperate clinging to the status quo, preferring the comfort of continuity of the obsolete to actual solutions. I think we know who's on the right side of history with this. There's empirical evidence this works. Germany's public banking system is one of the best banking systems in the world, and so is North Dakota's. Let's be on the right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you. And before you start, Beverly, I didn't see you. Beverly, come on up. And is it Maxwell Kessler, Melissa Mickelson? Yes.
Hi, my name is Giselle Mata. I'm with ACE and the Fix LA Coalition. I just wanted to speak on behalf of letting the voters decide on this public bank. I think it's the best ways that we can get out from under these fraudulent banks. We know that they have no interest in helping our community, and we know that a public bank could potentially do all those things that the other speakers spoke of. But we need those 5,000 jobs back to come back to our city. Those were lost after the last bank crash, and we know that they have not come back because the city is in a predatory loan with one bank, Bank of New York Mellon, that has $9 million in financial service fees and interest rates that's depleting our city of funds. So we want to make sure that this bank can potentially save us millions of dollars, not only in interest, but in financial service fees. How much money can be saved, we don't even know. But what we do know to be true is banks are corrupt. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Greetings, Councilman. Nice to be here with you, and thanks for listening to me. My name is Beverly Roberts. I'm a member of ACE and
Yes.
Fix LA Coalition. I support LA Bank, LA Public Bank, because I was with Wells Fargo for 20 years, and I left them last summer, and it's the best thing I could do. I went to a credit union. I support LA Public Banks. We need quality jobs. We need money for development in our communities. Big banks are robbing our communities. It's time for LA Public Bank now. Listen to me. I'm an elder. And I'm
But
older than any of all y'all probably. So
But-
you better listen to me.
But you're a tough one, Beverly, and I do listen. Yes, and if I could get Mr. Herman to get in line, you'll be after them. So go right ahead.
Thank you, LA City Council, for your time and consideration. I appreciate it. I'm out here to support.
Your name?
My name is Max Kessler. I just wanted to speak very briefly. There's a lot of positive economic reasons to support this initiative. You've all heard them. But I think there's a more fundamental issue that is worth mentioning as well, and that is our democratic right to self-determination. The public bank would allow Los Angeles to use its tax dollars, as we mentioned earlier, to support the initiatives that tax bases require in order to have programs, in order to bring interns out, in order to do everything that this chamber does. And I'd just like to emphasize that the public bank will give us more self-determination to let Los Angeles decide what Los Angeles wants to do with Los Angeles' money. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hello, my name is Melissa Michelson. I'm a native of Los Angeles, born and raised. In 2016, I was a national delegate to the Democratic Party, representing 46,000 Bernie Sanders voters in my district, and now I'm the founding president of Feel the Burn Democratic Club of LA County, which is a coalition partner to Public Bank LA. Feel the Burn is made up of hundreds of the most progressive and active Democrats in LA County. In March, the club unanimously passed a resolution to support the creation of a municipal bank in LA. The following month, we put forth that resolution to the LA County Democratic Party, which also passed that resolution. I wanted to read the resolution briefly. Whereas the LA City Council created a motion in July 2017 calling for a study on the Public Bank of LA that could redirect funds to affordable housing and other needs of the city. And whereas socially responsible public banks have the ability to address the needs of the public they serve, and I'll just skip ahead. Therefore, the LA County Democratic Party supports such creation of state-chartered public banks and call for such financial entities to serve the public. I just want to say, please vote yes on item 45. You have our full support of activists.
Thank you, Mr. Herman.
So how have these municipal banks systematically defrauded the public? How did they steal? Well, it's all about corruption, and we all know the term corruption. Open meeting laws. You can't criticize and use resources to intimidate. However, this city retaliates against people like me, a little white nigger named Armando Herman, who comes here and retaliates not on behalf of bad or good, but for justice for all, dealing with violators of our rights under the city charter to authorize this censorship. Shut the fuck up. Was money to invest the money of monies and the resources necessary to prevail in the litigation against the citizens? Well, I got something to say. Stop the fucking retaliation, Weezar.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, that ends public comment on this item. With that said, Madam Clerk, let's prepare to vote on this item. Would you please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote?
12 ayes.
That's approved. That brings us where?
General public comment.
Okay, Jacqueline Richardson and Carlos, are you still here? And Richard, I saw Richard. Come on up, Richard. General public comment. So Jacqueline, I saw earlier. Come on, Jacqueline.
Mr. President.
Mr. Robinson? Yes,
Members,
sir.
Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton as president and vice president, supported by Barack and Bill. 2020 vision, says the bumper sticker. The Republicans have failed to. I can't preach to the choir, so I'm going to stay away from politics as much as possible in this hallowed chamber. It's simply that by returning Barack and Bill to Oprah will obviously step aside. So in the year in less than 3 years, we'll have a Democrat president. We can prepare for a future of returning America back to sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Miss Richardson, come on. Come on. The mic is yours.
Only a few people complain about tunnels. That's because the people don't know about tunnels. As you may know, the Los Angeles Times is planning on moving from their location to El Segundo, California. I don't know if this has to do with the tunnel. They're making a tunnel right next to the Los Angeles Times. It goes between 6 and 7 stories down. It might go underneath the police department. I don't know. It goes from Hill Street down to Alameda Street. They've been working on this tunnel for over a year. I don't know if the police department would complain if they knew this tunnel was under them. It goes between 6 and 7 stories down. 6 or 7 stories down. The Los Angeles Times was also complaining about they're charging more money for that building, so they want to move to El Segundo. The tunnel may have something to do with it. I don't know.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. Mr. Herman? Mr. Herman?
Sable, getting there when I get there, bro. So, Mr. Herman alleges that the city itself retaliated against him pursuant to an official policy of intimidation by Weezer and Dawson and Fat Nuri. Within reason of torts and malicious prosecution, the existence of probable cause is within itself. Laws require rules. Strictly guard with respect the due process with the prospect of an annoying suit starting with Weezer and Dawson in face of allegations in light of the public's interest. Hogg versus Pickney, 1882, fuck you. Do not take me to apply my First Amendment of retaliatory arrest claim or TRO under Herb under 1983. Should I have to plead to prove the lack of probable cause, Tuesday, Wednesday, June 2008, 619, 620, prompted by Pro Temp Nuri, Dawson.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Thank you. Sergeants, remove him. Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman. No. No, then Mr. No. Let's find Mr. Herman a seat outside. Would you please do that and do it as artfully as you can? No, you're disrupting the council meeting, Mr. Herman. Just sergeants, just help him find his way outside. Madam Clerk or Madam City Attorney, I want it on the record. He's continuing to disrupt this meeting. Just have
Madam
him.
President, I mean,
Yes.
Mr. President, for the record, in case the camera has not caught it, Mr. Herman continues to scream and shout as he's being escorted from the room. He's slowly walking backwards and continues to scream and scream as he leaves this meeting.
Okay, Mr. Herman is alleging that he's being touched by our sergeants, and I want it on the record that he is not. All right, so now that we've returned to some sense of normalcy, what is on the agenda?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those motions are posted and referred. That brings us to public comment. I mean, not public comment, announcements. Thank all you guys for coming down today. Thank you. Thank you all. I'm sure we'll see you again. Any announcements? If all in the council chambers would please rise for adjourning motions. If all in the council chambers would please rise, I'm going to recognize to my left Mr. Harris Dawson.
So much, Mr. Chair and members. I ask that we adjourn in the memory of Garrett Vincent Grills, a friend of the family and friend of the community in South Los Angeles for more than 25 years. Mr. Grills died last week at the age of 55 after a long struggle with ALS. Garrett grew up in Detroit, Michigan, excelled in sports, earned a full basketball scholarship to FHU in 1980. He finished college and took up the art of cosmetology. He migrated to Los Angeles and became an independent cosmetologist at a thriving cosmetology shop here in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, he met and married the love of his life, Cheryl Wright, who became Dr. Cheryl Grills, who we all know. And they had 3 children, Devin, Isis, and Isaiah. His most important role in life was that of a father. He later opened up a hair salon in Westchester that continued to thrive after many years. Garrett has been an institution in this city. He and his wife, Dr. Cheryl Grills, and for so many years in so much pain battling ALS, finally went to the other side last week, and so we ask that the council adjourn in his memory.
Thank you, Mr. Harris Dawson. I'm still looking to my left. Any more on my left? Now to the right side. I don't see any on the right. Members, this meeting is adjourned.